Welcome again to the last episode of Punctuation Rules. Today lessons is going to address two sides of this course. The first one is quotation marks, which will be dealt with its function and position, and how commas should be put when it comes to question marks. The second is editing practice, in which you will be given a paragraph to edit. Let's start with definition of question marks. Quotation marks have three basic uses: to enclose direct quotations, to enclose unusual words, and to enclose titles of short works. Using quotation marks around a direct quotation that is shorter than 3 lines. A direct quotation like this states the exact words of the speaker, that is usually introduced by a reporting phrase such as he said, or other reporting verbs such as told, asked, thought, and so on. Punctuation with quotation marks sometimes can be a little tricky, as we will discuss in the following rules. The second example, separate quote sentence from a reporting phrase with commas. Here we have commas, and it separates between what is inside the reporting phrase. Here, keep in your minds that commas and point or full stop go inside the second quotation mark of a pair, like this is second. That's good. The example number 3, when we have a question marks or exclamation points that are part of the quotation, it should be inside. Whereas if it is outside the quotation, as we have here, because questions started from the beginning until here, we should put it out of it. Great. Whereas colons and semicolon go outside the quotation marks, as shown in the example number 4 here. That's great. Here it is another rule, which is to begin a capital letter. Even here we have I, because I it's always written capital, but if we have another words, it should be capitalized. But when a quote sentence is divided into part as we have here, the second part begins with a lowercase letter, as but here. If it is not a new sentence, great. And we have this kind of commas as an inserter. We are going to discuss it later on in the practical side. Great. The function number 2, around unusual words. Here we should know that quotation marks are used around words that are unusual or that have an ironic meaning, as masterpiece here. The last function of quotation mark is around titles of short works. It's easy to put quotation marks when we have title of a book, article, and so on. But when it comes to a title inside reporting quote, is that we use a single quotation marks, as shown here. Here, take some minutes to do this exercise by pausing the video and play it again as soon as you finish the exercise. So let's start correcting these sentences. First one, Maryam is trying hard in school this semester, her father said. Here we have a reported quote started from this place until here, and reporting phrase, it exists here. That means we are going to put first comma here as an introducer commas, followed by quotation marks. That's good. I believe Karim remarked that the best time of the year to visit Europe is in the spring. Here we have a reporting phrase, and when it comes to commas here, we are going to put inserter commas. Good. And we said that when we have a quoted sentence separated into 2 parts, the first one should be capitalized, whereas the second should be lower. Great. Karim reads a book entitled Guide to Europe. This is the title of the book, and we said in the title of the book it should consist quotation marks. My French professor told me that my accent is abominable. Here we have indirect quotations, and it changed from direct to indirect. So we don't have to put any quotation mark here. She asked, is Time a magazine you read regularly? Here, be careful about this question mark, and the reporting phrase started from here. So comma should be followed, then then quotation marks. Flannery probably got the title of one of her stories from the words of the old popular song, "A good man is hard to find." Here it's the title of a song. It should consist quotation marks. Great. When did Roosevelt say, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself"? Here we should take into consideration that question started out of reporting phrase, and question marks here should be out, of course. Before that we should put comma as introducer, then followed by quotation marks. Great. Yesterday John said, "I will come to the party," however he didn't come to it. We have a phrase of an introducer comma. Great. And this is reporting phrase, should be consist of comma, whereas the reported sentence started from here and finished here. That's good. However, this is consists of introducer because we have full stop here. We take into consideration as however here as an introducer commas. Great. Can you believe, Hafsa asked, that it has been almost 5 years since we have seen each other? Can you believe here is a question which starts from the beginning sentence until the end, but we have a reported phrase here as Hafsa asked. We have an inserter, commas, and the quote sentence is divided into 2 parts. Good. A perfect day for Jamal, she thinks, is yesterday. This looks similar to number 9, as we have a capital words, whereas here we have just a lowercase letter. So we are going to put inserted commas here, followed by quotation marks and other quotation marks. Great. Certainly, Mr. Martin said, "I shall explain the whole situation to him. I know that he will understand." Here certainly it's a part of quoted sentence, which means we are going to put this one as reported phrase with inserted commas. Great. Followed by quotation marks, and here quotation marks. That's good. Let's move to the editing practice. Add punctuation to the following paragraph, and please try not to forget the indentation at the first one. So let's have this paragraph corrected. Good. Indentations, it's a space we should leave in the beginning of the paragraph, whereas P should be capitalized. People are more likely to live longer enough to get old in wealthy countries than in the poor countries. In rich countries, people have a good food, modern medical care, and a clean drinking water. But poor countries lack these things. As a result, the mortality rate, especially infants' mortality, is very high. Citizens of Ethiopia and Yemen, which are 2 of the world's poorest countries, have an average life expectancy of 35 and 39 years. In contrast, citizens of Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia, Iceland, and Sweden have an average lifespan of more than 80 years. Sorry, here it should be semicolon. Japan has the highest, Yemen has the lowest. One expectation is that Saudi Arabia, one of the world's wealthiest nations, have an average life expectancy of 45 to 49 years. Saudi Arabians live about as long as Bangladeshis and Cambodians. Surprisingly, the United States is not among the highest rated nations, having an average life expectancy of only 77 years. Good. Here try to correct the mistakes that you made. This is the end of this course, which you learn to use punctuation rules with different functions. We wish you learn a lot during this course. Thank you so much.